Hello and welcome to Newsbreak. I'm Ankita Mukherjee. Our big focus this evening, amid the chatter over his imminent departure from the BCCI, the cricket board, Sourav Ganguly has said today that he can't be an administrator forever, that he is now looking to move on to something else. The former Indian captain is set to be replaced as board president by 1983 World Cup winning team member Roger Binny. Or so reports suggest. At this point, it could happen at the next BCCI annual general meeting that's scheduled for the 18th of October. Now, reports also seem to suggest that Sourav Ganguly was actually quite keen to continue as the BCCI president, but was not actually given the opportunity to have a second term. But that's not all. It's now becoming a growing political controversy, with parties like the Trinamool Congress and the CPM linking this to the fact that Sourav Ganguly did not either join the BJP or did not cooperate with the BJP's plans. But first up, before we take this over to a political panel, let's listen in to what Dada had to say today.
It was a great journey, a lot of learning experience. But the challenge of being a player was completely different. So you can't compare both. You can't play forever. You can't be an administrator forever. But it's been great fun doing both and seeing both sides of the coin. The best days were when you played for the country. I've seen so much after that. I've been president of CAB, I've been president of BCCI. I'll go on to do bigger things in the future. But those 15 years will be the best days of your life. When you woke up every morning to be successful.
All right, joining us for more on that big story now is the Trinamool's national spokesperson, Kirti Azad. And of course, he's perhaps better equipped than anybody to comment on this, having been a national selector himself, someone who's worked closely as a part of cricket administration in this country. So, Kirti Azad, let me begin by asking you this. After the Supreme Court actually cleared the way for both Shah and Sourav Ganguly's re-election, did Sourav really think that he was going to get a second term as BCCI president, much like Shah as secretary, and what happened?
To be very honest with you, I'm quite surprised. You know, the national games are going on in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat. The other day, the Prime Minister said that he's finished Parivarvad from sports. So I was very excited. Let's see what happens in the BCCI. But the Parivarvad stays, and here you have one of the best captains India has ever produced, Sourav Ganguly, removed as the president. I fail to understand why. What was wrong? Why was he removed? Forget him. Forget TMC. Forget Bengal. Forget everything. He was captain for India. What was the reason for him to be removed is what is to be asked, because we know Amit Shah had dinner with him at his residence. We also know that he was coaxed. He was asked to be the CM candidate for the BJP during the Bengal elections. So keeping all that aside, I want to know what is the reason why Sourav Ganguly has not been retained as Shah, the son of Amit Shah, or as Arun Dhumal, brother of Anurag Thakur, or the son of the former chief minister of Himachal Pradesh.
Right. Kirti Azad, of course, you're referring to that dinner that took place in May 2022 when Amit Shah was at Sourav Ganguly's residence. And we are showing those visuals on our screen as we speak. There was a great deal of significance attached to the dinner at the time. And perhaps some level of expectation that there might be some kind of announcement forthcoming from Sourav Ganguly at the time that would seem to indicate that he had sort of shifted closer perhaps to the BJP. Is it the TMC's contention that what we are seeing today is because that didn't happen?
TMC does not restrict Sourav Ganguly only to Bengal. He was India's captain. He has played for India. He's done a yeoman service. He got the fighting spirit into the Indian team. And my question goes back again, is why wasn't he retained? Why was Shah carried on with? What is the reason for it? And you said about the Lodha committee. Well, it was actually, if Lodha committee wouldn't have come in, it was Amit Shah who was going to be the president of the board. Everybody knows about it. But then when the Lodha committee report came in, obviously things changed and the son came in and took the place. My question still stands. Sourav Ganguly does not only belong to Bengal, he belongs to India. Why was he not retained?
Would you say then, Kirti Azad, that there's been any kind of indication, or is anyone even maintaining that Sourav Ganguly didn't actually do an efficient job as the BCCI chief? Can that point be made at all?
Can anybody give an example as to where he was not proficient, where he was not able to deliver what he had to? All we saw was Shah, who speaks broken English and Hindi, coming on the television all the time and announcing things. When did Sourav Ganguly not, or can anybody give an example where he was not competent enough?
Okay, fair point. But, you know, the man who's being widely tipped as his successor, Roger Binny, do you have any sort of any problems at all? Will Roger Binny not be a good BCCI chief or just as good as Sourav Ganguly?
Roger is a great man.
Him?
No, Roger is a great man. Roger is a colleague. We are proud winners of the 1983 World Cup team. I have played with him. I have been with him. He's such a nice, genuine, gentle, fantastic, gentle giant. He's a great guy. And congratulations to him that he's coming. I was only on a point on Sourav as to why wasn't he retained. But fair enough, if Roger has come in, nothing like it. Kapil Dev was the captain. We were the members of that 83 World Cup team, which changed the complete face of cricket. We became a cricketing world power in 83. That's how it all started.
So that's interesting, Kirti Azad, because you say there can't be any reservations about Roger Binny. He is, he's likely to be an equally good cricket administrator. But, you know, what do you then say to people who might say or might allege that the Trinamool is actually trying to leverage Ganguly's overwhelming popularity in Bengal? The moment you try and portray him as some kind of victim of political vendetta by the BJP for perhaps not going along with their plans for him, it seems to suggest, it seems to open up a whole new Pandora's box.
Well, the BJP doesn't have any base in Bengal. It only knows how to make people fight communally. As a Hindu or a Muslim, and they have nothing else to really contribute towards the country. And they wanted someone with a face, a name in Bengal, and who better than Sourav Ganguly, who is an icon of India across the world. He's known for his great aggressive cricket, and they wanted him as the candidate for CM's post in the Bengal elections. We all know that. I saw it on your television. I saw on various other channels. Saw that he was being wooed for that post. Unfortunately, he had a mild heart attack at that time, and he didn't join the BJP, which is everybody knows about it. I mean, it's an open secret. It's nothing that I am saying, revealing something. It's a kind of a breaking news, but everyone knew about it, and that could be one of the reasons why, because you cannot really touch a person like Sourav Ganguly, who's India's icon. He's not only Bengal's icon. He is India's icon. He is India's cricketer. So anybody trying to make it political from TMC side is not correct. I feel it's the BJP that has played the politics.
So, Kirti Azad, you are referring to the rumours that Sourav Ganguly refused to become the BJP's Bengal face before the assembly elections in the state. You're making a very clear reference to that. I would really request you to stay on while I take this across to the other members and respond. I did want to speak to you first, of course, but if you could stay on for a couple of minutes. I'm also being joined by Rakesh Rao, Deputy Editor of The Hindu, and also Devjani Bhattacharya, supporter of the Trinamool Congress and all of this. Devjani Bhattacharya, you know, your thoughts. We've just heard from Mr. Kirti Azad saying it was an open secret that Sourav Ganguly didn't join the BJP or didn't become the BJP's Bengal face ahead of the assembly elections. And what we are seeing now, this came as a shocker, not just to Sourav Ganguly himself, that he didn't get a second term as BCCI chief. And, it came as a shock for everybody else because the road had been cleared for both Shah and Sourav Ganguly to continue.
Ankita, first of all, I am not at all a Trinamool supporter. I am not at all a Trinamool supporter. You introduced me wrong. I am a political analyst.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know why you introduced me wrong.
No,
My
apologies. My apologies. I
googling,
believe you are going to be defending the BJP on this show.
No. I'm a political analyst. What I would say that I am very delighted today that I am sitting with Kirti Azad. You know why? Because why? How do people know Sourav Ganguly? Because in 1983, the India was giant killer and took Indian cricket to the world platform. And Kirti Azad and Roger Binny, these are the stalwarts, So I understand cricket very little. Rather, I understand nothing of cricket. I was very little at that point of time. I saw the people of my house were so
okay,
ecstatic.
Fair enough, Devjani. But the Trinamool, Mr.
Yeah.
Kirti Azad is here in his capacity as Trinamool national spokesperson, and what he is alleging is very serious. That there is a distinct political reason behind what we are seeing
and
now.
This is exactly what I don't like, because people are politicizing it. I don't believe that it's only a rumor that that BJP went and proposed. There's no confirmed news. If you search the media, you will get zero confirmed news about it. And Sourav Ganguly is a star, cricket star, is an All India star, and the most successful sports star of Bengal, no doubt about that. And he also is a good captain. And he also did his term as BCCI president. And as much as I know, I can recollect that his term was supposed to be also, definite. He was there for a definite term only. And this time he was offered, as much as I can recall, he was offered the chairmanship of the IPL, which he refused. And that much. And why we politicize it unnecessarily, I really don't know. And how it comes BJP.
You made your point. Let me take this across to Rakesh Rao, who perhaps covers sports more closely than I do and would maybe be able to answer some of those questions that you raise. Devjani Bhattacharya makes the point, Rakesh Rao, that Sourav Ganguly refused the IPL chairmanship, and he may or may not have had certain expectations about the BCCI Chief's post. Right now, even the ICC chair's nomination seems a bit far-fetched. So what next for Sourav Ganguly, and what's brought us here?
Well, see, my impression is that somehow Sourav Ganguly along the way had lost a lot of, a lot of people who initially thought that he would act in a certain way, and I think his way of functioning had actually rubbed a few guys, on the wrong side, probably. And also, see, the thing is that, there was a lot of talk, I remember, when he was promoting, certain brands which are not really considered ethical. Those are
could you tell us a little more about that? What exactly is it that you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about, a lot of these celebrities, when they were, be it Dhoni or even Sourav, Lakshman, Virat Kohli, Sachin Tendulkar, they all were promoting rival, brands which were actually sites where you could, put in your team, your dream team, or whatever you call it. That's all for a consideration. Now, as a board president, that doesn't seem okay. And a lot of people were talking about it. Of course, Sourav being Sourav, nobody had the guts to tell him up front. But then at the first available opportunity, he was eased out. And I'm not saying that because they wanted him out. It was just that the opportunity came and they saw their chance that, all right, we can replace a cricketer with another one.
All right. Actually, that's a very important point that you're making, Rakesh Rao. And this is a question of probity and perhaps what is appropriate for the chief of the BCCI. I want a quick reaction from Kirti Azad on that. Would you say any of Sourav Ganguly's endorsements could have actually sort of been held against him?
Not only that, I'm saying that could be one of the reasons, because the one that I'm referring to, this took place at least 2 seasons ago. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that, somewhere along the way, he has lost that support that he once enjoyed.
Right.
And also, by bringing in a cricketer in place of another one, and that too, somebody like Roger. Now, Roger, we know that, he's best remembered for his behavior, his demeanor, the way he has treated people. He's very popular and respected within the KSCA. And also, let's not, forget one thing, what he did when Stuart Binney, his son, came into contention. At that time, he was the selection committee chairman. He resigned immediately.
Right.
He said it is.
So he's always
it is a conflict
been above
of
question.
interest.
His conduct has been above question. Fair point. I think Kirti Azad also made the point that no one can quibble about Roger Binney being Sourav Ganguly's replacement. So there's absolutely and the fact that we are replacing one cricketer as chairman of the BCCI with another, Kirti Azad. Do you see at least that as a sort of as a positive factor going ahead?
No, I have no problems of
Sourav
Ganguly being replaced.
Rakesh Rao, maybe just allow Kirti Azad to answer. I'll come back to you after.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. No, I have no problems with Sourav Ganguly being replaced by Roger Binney. Obviously, Roger, I talked about the qualities that he has. He's a great gentleman, a superb guy. But then coming back again, the full circle, is how is Shah qualified to retain, and Sourav Ganguly is not qualified to be retained as the president of BCCI?
Yeah.
If it's a board of control for cricket in India, then look at the credentials of both. Look at the credential of Shah. Is he one of the greatest cricketers ever born?
Okay, fair enough. And I'd like to take that to Rakesh Rao. But before I do that, Kirti Azad, on the very specific point Rakesh Rao made about endorsements which may have been questionable. For instance, fantasy leagues, or is it appropriate for a national selector to have done that, is the point Rakesh Rao is making. Anything that you'd like to add to that?
Why is it that when the Indian board gets an opportunity, when a person is weak on a weak wicket, they straight away throw him away? I mean, look at Virat Kohli. He wasn't performing well. He was stripped of all the captaincies. Even one day international, when he wanted to be the captain for the one day team. So the best part about the BCCI is when somebody is really at a strong pitch, they don't touch him. I think Sourav too was, as far as I know, he's very vocal, he's very straightforward, he's aggressive in his intent. And that could be one of the reasons, apart from the political reasons that I told you. So talking about endorsements, who doesn't do endorsements? Everybody does endorsements. And I think even if it's the president of the BCCI, easily the office bearers can tell him that you please stop doing these endorsements. You can't do it because you're not allowed.
Okay, I believe Devjani has a point. Go ahead, Devjani.
Yeah. So I felt very sad that Kirti Azad had finally compared Sourav Ganguly with Shah. Finally, he was talking about credentials, but at the end of the day, he ended up comparing Sourav Ganguly, who's a cricketer, with Shah, who's not a cricketer. So is he doing justice to Sourav Ganguly also? And as far as the endorsements are concerned,
the point really at the end of the day, Devjani Bhattacharya, is their roles as administrators.
Yeah, so that is the point, and maybe he was shifted to some as administrator to some other branch of the game which he was not acceptable. Was it ever declared that Sourav has to be repeated? In fact, Ganguly himself has accepted the decision in a very nice way today.
He's certainly been. He's acted with immense grace, as we heard in that soundbite today, where he talks about how it's time to move on. He's been a cricketer, he's been a cricket administrator, and it's time to do something else. But Rakesh Rao, my question to you is this: did it come as a surprise to Sourav Ganguly? Because no doubt he would have been engaged in the day-to-day activities of the board in the run-up to the AGM. Would this have come as a surprise?
Partly, yes, because I think somewhere deep down he expected to be elevated to the ICC at some point. And if that is looking a little bleak now, I think, yes, he has a reason to be disappointed, not surprised. I think at one point we were talking about a kind of a deal where he graduates to the ICC as India's representative, because he was there earlier as the in the cricket committee, the all-powerful committee within the ICC in all cricketing matters. But then if he's not getting that immediately, maybe at some other at some other point in time. But yes, I think he'll be disappointed, not really surprised here.
All right, we'll leave it at that for now. Thanks very much, all of you, for joining us on the program. Kirti Azad, Rakesh Rao, Devjani Bhattacharya for speaking about what appears now to be a growing political controversy. Interestingly, sources close to Sourav Ganguly saying he can hold his head high because he's never really been closer to one party than the other.